Combining the performance of a full-size handgun with the concealability of a subcompact gun, both the Springfield Hellcat Pro and Sig Sauer P365 XL offer higher capacity and a smaller footprint. They are a great everyday carry option when you need a compact pistol with the capabilities of a full-size pistol. We're going to take a look at the similarities and differences of these pistols to help you decide which may be the best option for you, so stay tuned. So before we look at the guns themselves, let's go ahead and look at the packaging that you get with each one. So with the Springfield Hellcat Pro, it does come in the cardboard boxes that they're sending all their pistols out with now. I do miss the days where they would send them in the hard pistol case with all the extra accessories. But I think with all the R&D that they're doing now to bring us better pistols, I think that they're cutting costs here with the packaging. So just in case that matters to you, the Springfield Pro does not come in a hard pistol case like the Sig. So opening it up, it does come in a soft pistol case though, that does hold one pistol. So taking it out there, and then in this accessories area, you'll see that it does come with another 15-round magazine, a gun lock, and then a mag loader. And then the Sig P365, you'll see it does come in the hard pistol case. You get the gun, you get two magazines, so two 12-round magazines, and it does not come with a mag loader. So here's a look at the pistols side by side. You'll see that they are virtually the same size. So with the measurements of these guns, they are both 6.6 inches in overall length and 4.8 inches in overall height. So that's where they're about the same. As far as width goes, the Hellcat Pro comes in at 1 inch thick, and the P365 XL comes in at 1.1 inches thick. So putting these guns on top of each other, I do have the Sig on top. You'll see since they are about the same height, but there is a difference in the angle of the grip and where the magazine is with 365 XL. It is at a bit of an angle where the Hellcat Pro is more flush. And then you'll see that the Hellcat Pro does have a little bit of a lower trigger guard versus the 365 XL. And then look at adding them this way, they're about the same. But if you look at the trigger guards from the bottom, you'll notice that the Hellcat Pro does have a thicker trigger guard. And then moving on to the top, this is the side by side. They are pretty much the same. The 365 is slightly thicker than the 1 inch Hellcat Pro. And then this is again looking from the back. And really the only difference is that angle with the 365 XL grip. And then this is just another look with Hellcat Pro on the top and the 365 on the bottom. So pretty much the same size gun. You do get more capacity with the Hellcat Pro than you do the 365 XL. There is that option with the 15-round extended mag for the 365. So let's go ahead and look at the Hellcat Pro first. Starting with the slide, it is a melanite black finish, and there are front and rear slide serrations. And then on the top of the gun, you'll see that there is an RMR cutout for a red dot sight. And right here is where there is a chamber loaded indicator. So if you do have a round in the chamber, it will tell you that. You'll see that the sights on the Hellcat Pro are tritium U-shaped. You'll see the tritium sight on the front and the U-shaped on the rear. Now the ones on the rear are not illuminated. It is just a white U. And then moving to this side, again, the front and rear slide serrations. The mag release on this is ambidextrous, so you can change it if you are left-handed. And then moving on to the frame, you'll see it is a black polymer frame. It does have this adaptive grip texture around the grip, and you'll see that it does have some finger grooves right here. And it does have a finger indent on both sides of the slide right here for your index finger. So whether you're right or left-handed, your index finger will fit right there. And it does have that adaptive texture in there too. So you do get a good firm grip on this gun, which I like. And I do like the fact that you can get your full hand on there without having an extended magazine. I just feel like that's a little bit more reliable than having to use an extended mag to get your pinky on. So I think that's where these guns come in really good. They are a little bit bigger than the subcompact models like the Springfield Hellcat, but these are going to be a little bit more controllable with a bigger size, yet they have a 15-round capacity and they're thin enough to where you can still conceal these. So this grip to me feels really nice on the Hellcat Pro. And right here is where your thumb goes, and it's just got a nice area for your thumb to rest. So see right here is the slider release and then the takedown lever right here. And then there is an accessory rail on the front of the Hellcat Pro. It does have the 1913 Picatinny rail for those accessories that require that. You'll also notice that this model that I have does not have the manual safety. With their triggers, they rely on this pin right here as your safety, but I do believe they make the option to put a rear thumb safety on the Hellcat Pros. The mag drops in and out of the gun really well. You'll see I just hit that button and it comes right out. So nice magazine release with the Hellcat Pro. The weight of this one is 21 ounces unloaded, and the Hellcat Pro does have a 3.7-inch hammer forged barrel. And then right here, it does have a dual captive recoil spring with a full-length guide rod, which we'll see when we take it apart. So looking at the trigger right here, you see it is curved, and it does have this little safety right here, so you do have to depress this in order for it to fire. If you don't fully depress this lever right here, then it will not fire. So let's go ahead and test it out. You'll see it is unloaded. So go ahead and see what the trigger take up is. So right there before I hit the wall. And then for the reset, right there. So the reset's right there. So not too bad of a take up. That's a pretty nice stock trigger right there. Not a whole lot of take up. There is a noticeable wall that you hit right there. And it does have that audible reset. All right, so moving on to the Sig Sauer P365 XL. Again, this holds just 12 plus 1 in the chamber. You can get the additional 15 round extended mag. So this does have their X Series P365 grip module with an integrated carry magwell and extended beaver tail right here. It does have a stainless steel nitride finish to the slide. And again, you have a black polymer frame. It does have the front and rear slide serrations on both sides as well. You'll see on this one, it does have a cutout here where you can replace it with a red dot. The difference on this one is you do have to remove your rear sights in order to put a red dot sight on, whereas with the Hellcat Pro, the cutout is in front of the rear sights. So you can keep your rear sights on the Hellcat Pro if you put a red dot sight, but if you do put a red dot on the 365, you do lose these rear sights right here. So the sights on the 365 XL are their X-ray 3D day and night sights. So they do light up at night or in low light, this green color that you see on the front sight. And it is the 3-dot sight versus the U shape on the rear of the Hellcat Pro. On this side of the gun, you'll see you have your slide lock right here and the takedown lever here as well, similar to the Hellcat Pro. There is another model option with the rear thumb safety. So you'll see on the front of the frame here, it does have a Sig accessory rail, but it does not have the 1913 Picatinny rail like the Hellcat Pro does. The 365 XL does have a 3.7-inch carbon steel barrel, so both barrels are the same size in both guns. And on the frame of the gun, you'll see that there is texture around the grip. There does not really seem to be any pronounced finger grooves like on the Hellcat Pro, and you do not have that indent right here for your index finger, but it still has a nice firm grip. You can get your full hand on this without having a magazine extension, which is nice as well. And then that extended beaver tail will help you from getting slide bite. And then the magazine release button right here does shoot it out just as nice as the Hellcat Pro. And then looking at the trigger, you'll see that it is more of an angled flat trigger and it has a 90-degree break. So we'll go ahead and make sure it's unloaded. And right here at 90 degrees is where it's supposed to break. And it does. We'll listen for that reset. Right there at 90 degrees, it resets as well. So you have this take up right here until you hit that 90 degrees. So take up right at 90 degrees, you hit that wall, press the trigger, and then resets right at that 90 degree as well. So you see that there is a little bit more room inside the trigger guard of the 365 in case you do wear gloves if it's cold outside. You do have a little bit more room in that trigger guard than you do with the Hellcat Pro. And then here's just a side comparison, again showing that the overall length and height is the same. So let's go ahead and take these pistols down. We'll go ahead and start with the Springfield Hellcat Pro. So I'm going to release the magazine, make sure it is clear, which it is. So with this, we're going to go ahead and lock the slide to the rear, pulling up that slide lock right there. And then this takedown lever right here, we're going to push that forward. And then with the Hellcat, you do have to pull the trigger to get the slide off. So we're going to go ahead and release this, move it forward, pull the trigger, and then the slide comes right off of the frame. So to take the recoil spring out, you just push it in forward, up and out, and it should come out. And then the barrel, just grab it by the lug and it'll lift right out as well. So that is how you field strip the Hellcat Pro, pretty easy. And then this is the barrel, the 3.7-inch barrel. And then this is the dual captive recoil spring with that full length guide rod. So let's go ahead and take down the 365. We'll release that magazine, check the chamber, make sure it is empty. And with this, same thing, we're gonna lock the slide to the rear, and then you're gonna take the takedown lever and press it down on this one. And then we can release the slide and pull it forward. There's no need to pull the trigger to get the slide off on the 365. And you'll see that this has a single recoil spring with a full length guide rod. We'll go ahead and take the barrel out. Again, close up look of the 3.7-inch barrel on the Sig Sauer. So here's the difference with the recoil springs themselves. This is more like the Gen 4 and newer Glocks, and this is similar to the old style Glocks. They had the single recoil spring. And we'll take a look at both barrels, see how they match up. You'll see that they are the exact same size. Taking a look at the slides side by side, again, they are going to be the same length. And the Sig is ever so slightly thicker than the Hellcat. And then taking the frames, looking at the internals here, you'll see you have your whole trigger assembly right there, your extractors. So if you do line up the actual frames themselves, it does appear that the 365 is slightly shorter than the Hellcat, which is on my left. And then again, this is where you can see the difference in the angle right there. Yeah, so if I line up both beaver tails and right here, you'll see that the Hellcat Pro does stick out quite a bit more than the 365 frame. To put these back together, it's going to be the exact same way we took them apart. So starting with the 365 XL, we're going to go ahead and drop that barrel in there, pull it back. When we put these back in, you want to make sure you take the spring guide head and seat it on the barrel lug right there. There's a little bit of a U-notch right here on the barrel lug where that sits in. So you're going to push it in there, push it in a little bit until it sits on that barrel lug. And then we're going to go ahead and make sure that your lever is still down. We're gonna put it back on the slide, lock it to the rear. If that lever didn't automatically pop back into place, go ahead and put it back in its normal position. You can release the slide, and that is it. And to put the Springfield Hellcat Pro back together, same thing. Drop in your barrel. Again, make sure that the spring guide head does rest on that barrel lug right there. So it seats in just like that. And then we're gonna line them up. Lock the slide, put the lever down, and release. So both the guns break down pretty much the same way. The only difference is you do have to pull the trigger on the Hellcat Pro and not the 365 to get the slide off. So for another comparison between these two pistols, I am going to bring in a Glock 19. Just for reference, most people are familiar with the size of the Glock 19. This has been a very popular pistol of Glocks. It's their compact model. It does hold 15+1 rounds, just like the Hellcat Pro. And this was a good option for those that still want to carry, but it's not quite the full size like a Glock 17. So just for reference, since most people know the size of the Glock 19, I wanted to compare it to both of these. So we'll take it side by side to the Hellcat Pro. So the overall length on the Glock 19 is 7.36 inches and the height is 5 inches. And then the overall width is 1.26 inches with an empty weight of 23.63 ounces. So this is a double stack. It does again hold 15+1 just like the Hellcat Pro, but you'll see the size difference is quite noticeable. The Hellcat Pro is shorter and a lot thinner. And we'll bring it over here for this side comparison. So you'll see the larger size of a Glock from the side here. Coming around, Glock does have a little bit bigger trigger guard right here. And then bringing it over to this side. So while it holds the same amount of rounds as the Glock 19, it is much thinner, so it's going to be easier to print and a lot lighter to carry as well. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and bring in the 365 XL. So we'll start with this side right here. Again, the Glock is a little bit longer and thicker than the 365. Moving on to this side, you'll see this is where you notice that angle of the magazine with the 365. Again, difference in trigger guards there. So we'll line all three of these up right here just so you can see the difference from the bottom. So again, that's just for reference, since most people know the size of the Glock 19, since that's been a very popular pistol for many, many years. So you'll see that these are both great concealed carry options if you're looking for something in 9mm. Again, with the Hellcat Pro, you're getting 15+1 with the flush magazine and 12+1 in the 365 XL. They do have pros and cons to each one. I do like the grip of the Hellcat Pro. I feel like for me, it fits my hand better, and I really do like that it has this area here where you put your index finger. I just feel like I get a good grip that's comfortable with that. Not to say that the 365 XL is any worse or anything like that. You also get a good grip on here. Higher bore access for me on that 365. I just feel like the Hellcat Pro feels better in my hand, but depending on your hand size and what you're used to, the 365 might feel better in your hands. So pretty awesome guns. I'm glad that they came out with these. I do like the subcompact models of both of these, but I like the larger size with these. I do like having the option to get a full size grip without having to use a magazine extension to add that pinky. These are going to be a lot easier and smoother to shoot than the smaller models, just because you are able to get a better grip on these. You're going to have a lot more controllability with both of these guns over their original models. And there are plenty of aftermarket parts for both of these as well, and several different red dot sight options if you want to go that route too. So if you guys liked this video or even found it helpful, join me over here where we take a look at the Glock 19 versus the PSA Dagger.